Okay, so before we do have a PowerPoint, and before I start sharing my screen, I thought we could start with introductions. So my name is Nazia Islam. I am the Interdisciplinary Studies Librarian. I cover about 8 different subjects, and the 2 main subjects I cover at CGU are cultural studies and religious studies.
Sorry, I'll go next. My name is Lisa Crane. I'm the Western Americana Manuscripts Librarian. I work in special collections, and I pretty much help students with any aspects of special collections. I do focus on Western Americana, of course. I also focus on archives. I oversee our archives and manuscript collections as well. Xiuying.
Hi, I'm Xiuying Zou, or the Chinese way would be Zhou Xiuying. So I'm head of the Asian Library, and also I cover Asian Studies and Asian American Studies subject area. So if you have anything like related to Asian Studies or Asian American Studies, resources, other questions, could just contact me.
So I'm going to now share my screen and share a PowerPoint. We do have a link that you would be able to access the slides and presentation either during this presentation or afterwards. So I'm just going to drop that in the chat right now. Okay, and now I'm going to start sharing my screen. All right, can everyone see that? If you can just give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. So welcome to your library information session. So what we're going to cover today, basically kind of an overview of the library, research support, special collections, and we're going to talk about the Asian Library more from how to access remotely now that we're all remote because of the pandemic. So a brief overview, the Claremont Colleges Library supports the 7 institutions at the Claremont Colleges. So that is the 5 undergraduate colleges and the 2 graduate colleges, which includes CGU and Keck Graduate Institution. And you might sometimes hear the library referred to as Honnold Mud, and that's the name of the physical building that the library, the name of the physical building. So you might hear some people say the Claremont Colleges Library, and you might hear some people call it Honnold Mud. So the library has over 2 million books, articles, videos, and resources for you to access. And a lot of those you can access through the library website, which is linked here at library.claremont.edu. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, some of the library services have changed, and you can find information about the changes and up-to-date information on our the coronavirus updates page, which is linked right here. And because we're all now remote, borrowing and requesting materials has changed. So graduate students, you have access to all our ebook and like digital resources, but access to borrowing our print books has changed. So while things are remote, you can still borrow print books. It just kind of looks a little bit different this semester. So graduate students can borrow up to 140 books per semester, and you can request to borrow them for to pick them up walk-in or curbside by appointment, and that's if you live within 25 miles of Claremont. Now, if you live outside of the 25-mile mark of 25-mile radius of Claremont, you can request print books to be mailed to your home if they're not available in digital format. If we can get you a digital format, then we won't be able to mail you the print book. But if we don't have an item at all in digital format, you'll be able to get access to the print materials. Now, we do have some exceptions. the rules that you can find on the borrowing page that's linked over here. And I think I mentioned we won't mail items if you live within 25 miles of Claremont. If you live outside of the 25-mile mark, we can mail it to you, and then we'll send you a prepaid envelope, to return the materials. And borrowing time has been extended. So normally, if you were to borrow a print book, it would be 28 days, but because of the special circumstances, when you borrow books, it'll be for about up to a semester. And we also want to note that the ability to mail items may change without notice due to the evolving events around COVID-19. In addition to borrowing print books, you still have access to resource sharing, or what is also known as interlibrary loan, to request articles and books and other resources that we don't own, but we'll be able to get for you from other libraries. But this, again, is slightly limited. We can get you articles, no problem, but if you want to borrow print books from other libraries, that is going to be limited at this time. You can still go ahead and request it, but we can't guarantee that we will be able to get you the things you not be able to get everything that you will request through our resource sharing services. But to get more information and update on that, we would suggest that you check the coronavirus page. Okay, so in addition to borrowing materials from the library, you still have access to research support remotely. So I think I've mentioned that we have different subject librarians for the different disciplines that you're in. So in order to get help for research remotely, which we are offering via Zoom, you can contact your subject librarian, and you can do that on this link here. It'll take you to this page, which it'll give you the list of all the subject librarians. Can everyone see that? It'll give you a list of the disciplines and subjects we have, and then the contact information to the librarian that covers that discipline. And so when you make an appointment with a subject librarian, you can get help for your research, one-on-one help on how to start your research, how to develop a research topic. We can discuss research strategies with you. We can recommend different databases and resources for your topics and help you track down different materials. And then we can also help you with citation and with citation and citation management as well. And you can access all of our online resources. You don't need to, as long as you can access the library website at library.claremont.edu, you have access to all of our electronic databases, our electronic journals, our ebooks, our video databases. And to be able to access a journal or article, you would just simply go to the library website at library.claremont.edu, and you can just immediately start using them. So if you wanted to use a database, you can just go into the database page and just start using it. But in order to access it, you will be prompted to this page. Well, you'd be prompted to a login page that isn't showing up right now because I'm logged in, but it's a page, it's a purple page that would show up, and you would just choose your institution. So that would be Claremont Graduate University, and then you just log in using the same login credentials that you use to log into Canvas. And so on this slide, I have a list of the top library resources. So these are links to the recommended places to start to look for information for your research. So you can visit the Ask Us page to contact the library or librarians. We have an FAQ section. We have a section for making those remote online appointments. So you would just click on schedule appointment, make a 30 or 60-minute appointment, and then find the librarian that is in your subject area and make a research appointment that way. Or you can send us an email through this page as well. We also have access, so you can access your course readings through our library websites. You would just go to the course readings page, which is also located on the home page. So it's just located below the search bar right here in course readings. And you can look up your courses by instructor or course number to find the required readings for your courses. And then you can use library search databases or journals to find ebooks and articles. We have subject research guides. So these guides are specifically tailored to your subject area. And this is a great place to start. If you don't know where to start searching or looking for resources, you can find your subject area and it'll give resources of the best places to search and the best recommendations for databases for you to start researching. You can also, through the library website, locate dissertation and theses. We have a FAQ page for that, of the different places that you can search for dissertations and who to contact if you need help to access these materials as well. And then finally, another top resource that I'd recommend is our Zotero guide. So if you're not familiar with what Zotero is, it's a citation management tool. So we have a guide for that. So we have quick instructions for how to install and use it. And we also have a 14-minute tutorial on how to use this software to create citations and bibliographies to help keep your research organized. So that's about it for my section of the presentation. So now I'm going to pass it on to Lisa to talk about special collections.
So what is special collections? Special collections is basically the place where you can find a lot of primary source materials. Normally people who visit special collections and use special collections materials must come to the reading room and use those materials. However, with this current pandemic, the reading room is closed, as is the library. So something that we're helping students with is digitizing some materials for their research if necessary. What I like to say about special collections is to the library and to the Claremont Colleges what your thumbprint is to you. Special collections makes this library unique, and it makes the Claremont Colleges unique. You're going to find a lot of materials in special collections that do not exist elsewhere, and you're going to find a lot of materials that do exist elsewhere. So I think if you have not visited special collections yet, hopefully once this pandemic is over, you make a point of stopping by the reading room and visiting with us. So next slide, Nazia. So we we hold both print and manuscript primary sources. We have over about 200,000 volumes of materials, plus 11,000 linear feet of both literary and historical manuscripts and personal papers. We also have many of the college archives from the Claremont Colleges. There's 7 Claremont Colleges. There's no way we can store all of those materials in special collections, so we have to pick and choose. Oftentimes what we'll do is if we hear of a department starting up, or a department closing down, we'll reach out to those departments on campus and see if there's any materials that they want to send over to us to keep for safekeeping and for preservation and for perpetuity. We also have a lot of information dealing with the founding of the colleges. So if you're interested in any of that, Special Collections is a place to come to. And we also have, I'm drawing a total blank now. So stuff on the Claremont Colleges archives. Our materials do span more than 900 years of human history. We do have a lot of materials that date from the 1200s. Those are mostly going to be illuminated manuscripts if you're interested in that sort of item. We have a lot of stuff from the 15 and 1600s that deal with the history of science and technology. That collection, the cornerstone of those materials come to us from Herbert Hoover. He donated his materials on mining and metallurgy to us, and so we have those materials. And then we do have some more contemporary items. However, it's harder to get more contemporary items. I will say that most of our collections are from old white guys. And that's something that I'm trying to do, is diversify the collection and bring in more materials from underrepresented communities. We oftentimes hear about the silent voices in the archives, and more those silent voices are underrepresented communities, communities of color, LGBT communities. And this is something we really need to start. Archives worldwide are really starting to focus on this and really starting to get those communities represented in archives so that they're available, so that their voices can be heard going forward. Another part of Special Collections is the Asian Library. And the Asian Library, I'll let Xiuying talk a little bit more about that a little bit later, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. And then another aspect of Special Collections, mostly just because of the fact that we digitize a lot of materials for the Claremont Colleges Digital Library. I'll talk a little bit more detail on that. There's going to be a lot of primary sources in that collection. It's available 24/7. Anybody can access it from anywhere. Another part of Special Collections, as I mentioned, is we have the literary and historical manuscripts. So these are oftentimes found in finding aids. Because these collections are boxes of documents and that sort of thing, it's impossible to catalog every single document in archival collections. And so oftentimes it will create finding aids. It tells you the who, what, where, why, and how of a collection, as well as file folder level inventories. So it helps researchers find the materials that they're looking for. We store our processed finding aids in the Online Archive of California. If you just Google OAC, oftentimes you'll get either the Online Archive of California or the Ohio Athletic Conference. But one or the other are going to be right near the top. And so that's where you're going to find a lot of finding aids and that sort of thing. We do have a database of our archival collections. We just changed hosts on it. And so we're getting ready to push that out so that people can access that database, and then you'll be able to find materials that are not yet processed. And we do make those materials available to faculty, students, and staff, and researchers worldwide, even though we may not have processed them. Next slide. Special Collections stands ready to help you with your resource. We can help you identify or refine a research topic or question. We can really help you locate primary sources, especially digital primary sources, not just here at the Claremont Colleges, but worldwide. We can also help you understand the type of information that you find in historical records. They're not necessarily going to be like a book that has an index, and some of the information that's in there, you kind of have to read between the lines. You have to apply some of your own research skills in order to get information out of these documents. We can help you with that. We can help you to identify and communicate the information that's found in the documents. As I mentioned earlier, we'll actually digitize certain materials for students, faculty, and staff at the Claremont Colleges during this pandemic situation. You can communicate with us via chat, email, or Zoom conferencing. If you're on any of the Special Collections web pages between the hours of 10 and 4, there's a chat widget there, and a Special Collections staff will be waiting for you at the other end of that chat. And then, of course, you can always schedule a research appointment with us as well. So next slide. So these are just some important links to finding digital primary sources, specifically here at the Claremont Colleges. The Special Collections web pages, you'll find a lot of information there about the different types of collections that we have. You'll find information about how to register. Anybody who requests materials and wants to use materials in Special Collections must create a Special Collections account. Can you click on that link real quick, Nazia?
I'm sorry, the web pages?
Yeah, the web pages, sorry. And so this is the Special Collections homepage. On the lower left corner there is the Special Collection account login. So you would click on that, you'd create your account. You have to create your own username and password, and we strongly request you, we strongly suggest that you just create your own campus username and password and that sort of thing. And then once you're in there, you're able to request materials and also request materials to be digitized at no charge. Okay, back to the slide. And there's also links there for Asian library web pages. I'll let Xiuying talk about that. This is the link for the Claremont Colleges Digital Library. I find if I Google CCDL Claremont, it usually will come up. There's 75 collections in the CCDL, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then there's the link to the Online Archive of California. The Claremont Colleges have a variety of contributing repositories for finding aids there. You'll find, can you click on that link there, Nazia? You'll find there's a Hana Mud Library collection, so that's going to be our archival collections. If you go back one. And then there's Pacific Basin Institute that's over on the Pomona College campus. There's the Pitzer College Archives on the Pitzer College campus that's available, Pomona College Archives. There's the Denison Library at Scripps College. They've got a lot of archival collections. Special collections, it's available. All these collections are available to anybody at the Claremont Colleges. You don't have to belong to any one of these colleges in order to participate or to use them. There's also finding aids for the Ruth Chandler Williamson Gallery on the Scripps campus, and then also the Drucker Institute on the Claremont Graduate University campus. So a lot of places to find a lot of different finding aids and a lot of different materials. Okay, back to the slides. And then last but not least is the Western Water Archives. The Claremont Colleges Library just finished a 3-year digitization grant where we partnered with 7 other institutions, and we digitized archival collections dealing with water resources in Southern California and a little bit beyond. You're going to find a lot of interesting items here, and this Western Waters Archives is the culminating result of that 3 years of digitization project. So if you're interested in water resources, environmental analysis as it relates to water, anything along those lines, that's a good place for you to start working. And all those materials are all available online, downloadable, and that sort of thing. Next slide. So I mentioned what was going to be in the what was in the CCDL. As you can see here, there's a variety of formats: artifacts, photographs, posters, reports, scrapbooks, historical manuscripts, maps, all kinds of different types of things. It's not just limited to just images, and it's not just limited to just images and PDFs. We also have audio recordings and video recordings. The screenshot here of Barack Obama's Dream for My Father actually comes to us from a CGU collection that is Connie Martinson Talks Books, and she was a woman on PBS who held I think it was a weekly TV show where she interviewed authors about books that were forthcoming. And so we actually have this interview where she was interviewing a young Barack Obama right after he published his Dreams for My Father. Other topics, as you can see there, anthropology, fine arts. We've got stuff from the Williamson Gallery that's paintings, Francisco Goya. We've got artifacts from Williamson Gallery as well. Murals from Ireland, as well as murals from Pitzer College. All kinds of different types of items. Political science, women and gender, religion. We also have collections specifically on Asian rare books that comes to us from the Asian Library. California history, as you would expect. The environment. If you're interested in Italian Renaissance, Medici letters and that sort of thing, you'll find those in the CCDL. Japanese American incarceration in World War II. Management, mostly from the Drucker Archives, as well as a few other archives from the Drucker Institute. Native Americans, we've got photographs from Edward S. Curtis, a noted photographer of Native Americans at the turn of in the early 1900s. Photography, and of course, Claremont Colleges history and water. Next slide. So these are just some important links that you might, that would be good to know for connecting with special collections. There's an Ask Special Collections link where you can, when you access that, you can send us an email, you can chat, you can set up a research appointment. There's an account, there's the link there for registering to create a special collections account, and you can also request your digital copies through there. There's a FAQ on special collections. And also your faculty. If any of you are excited about what you're seeing and hearing, go back to your faculty and encourage your faculty to request a virtual instruction session with your class. And that's something that we do. We can introduce materials specific to your class and work on exercises and that sort of thing. So we encourage faculty to make use of us in that capacity. Next slide. And now it's Xiuying.
Okay, so can everyone hear me? Okay, good. So as Lisa said in her presentation, so the Asian Library is part of the Special Collections and Libraries, and the Asian Library at the Claremont Colleges Library is very well known for rare books, manuscripts, and artifacts from China, Japan, and Korea. So you may wonder, yeah, Claremont College mostly are like liberal arts colleges, campus, and why would we have all this good stuff? So the Asian studies actually at Claremont Colleges goes very early, back to the 1930s, and then has a lot to do with Claremont Graduate University. I think back then it's called Graduate University Center. And then, so the founding people, and also a lot of missionaries that retired from their services in China, Japan, and Korea. So they retired to Claremont and also helped and pushed forward the at that time called Oriental Studies. So we have all these rare books, manuscripts, and artifacts. A lot of them are from that sources. And what you see here on the picture is actually the earliest print books, the earliest printed books in our special collection. It is a Buddhist scripture translated into Chinese from Sanskrit and part of the so-called Tripitaka series. And can you guess how old it is? Because it looks very good, right? Still very wonderfully beautiful. And Lisa said our special collection spans over 900 years. So it must be older than 900, right? Yeah, so yeah, it is a printed item in 1090 in the Song Dynasty in China, okay? So next slide, Tanya. Nazia, please. Yeah, so the Asian Library, the next slide, please. Yeah, so the Asian Library not only like is a storehouse, like a depository for rare books, manuscripts, and artifacts. We do try every effort to actively engage or invite faculty and students actively engage with those materials. So we support curricula in the arts, humanities, social sciences, language studies, and STEM fields. And you may wonder how Asian studies can be related to STEM. But as an example of that, we actually is a very active partner of one of the intercollegiate initiatives at the Claremont Colleges, the Invite Lab Asia, which is a 4-year grant from the Luz Foundation. And of course, we are also aiming to strengthen and expand our collection efforts in order to accommodate all these expanding interdisciplinary fields in Asian studies. Yeah. Next slide, please. And so how can you connect with us? So we have the Asian Library at claremont.edu, this email address. And then as Nazia demonstrated, you can also find my email at the subject librarian page. And basically it's xiuying.zou@claremont.edu. So you can reach me through my personal email and also this group email. And we can get back to you on anything that you need help with, or you would like to know more about our Asian Library, whether the materials, or if you would like to schedule a visit to us physically or virtually. For example, a lot of classes we have hosted, a class visit we have hosted, and really you don't have to know the Asian languages. For example, you don't have to know Chinese, Japanese, or Korean to engage with our materials, our rare books, especially those related to like print cultures and material cultures, histories, etc. Just to give you a very a brief idea of what kind of classes, what kind of materials that we can help you with. Book arts, one kind area. We have hosted class visits in book art and typography. As you will see on the right side photos, we have original woodblock plates, original movable types, Chinese and Korean characters. And we also have a lot of rare books that documenting the, with beautiful illustrations that will be good examples, samples to study the print technology or to compare Western and, Eastern print technology and print cultures. Yeah, so just let me know, and then we can contact me, and then we can help you with whatever you need from the Asian Library. So next page, please. Yeah, so this is kind of like our, we repeatedly said, any question, just ask us, right? And we have a variety of channels for you to get into contact with us. So when you have time, just go to the libraryclaremont.edu, then /ask us, and all these social media and other modes of communications are listed there, and with more details too. So with that being said, I think I'll stop here, and then if you have questions, Lisa, Nazia, and I will be very happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. So if anyone, if any of our participants have any questions, feel free to either unmute yourself or you can ask it in the chat room. We'll give it, we'll let any of the research librarians respond. Well, I was mentioning, this is Ariel again, I was mentioning to the group earlier that we had Jennifer Beamer come to my education course, and she talked about a tip on how to sync Google Scholar with the library subscriptions. Can either of you show us how to do that in case students have been using Google Scholar?
Sure. I'll share my screen again, and I also apologize. I think they're doing work on my roof, so you might hear some noise coming from me in the background every now and then. So I'm going to share my screen, and you can link Google Scholar to the library website. So I'm just going to go and find Google Scholar, which is also, you can also access it through the library website as well. So I'm on the Google Scholar homepage. So I'm gonna now go on to the top left, click on settings, and then from settings, go under search results. So I wanna click on library links, and then I wanna search the Claremont Colleges. And then it'll give you the options to select the Claremont Colleges full text at Claremont. So you wanna select that. You can also select the Claremont Colleges at ProQuest full text, and then you just want to save that. And then whenever you do a search in Google Scholar I'm just gonna put in anthropology as an example, it'll give you the links, or it should give you the links to full texts from Google Scholar that you will be able to access through our library website. So yeah, full text at Claremont. So if you find something on Google Scholar and you see the link for full text at Claremont, you can just click on that and it'll take you to the source through our library website. Lisa or Xiuying, did you want to add anything?
No, I think you did a pretty good job. See if students have any question on that.
I agree, you covered it quite well. Xiuying, did you actually say what year that item was that you showed that's our oldest item in special collections?
Yeah, just I say it's the oldest printed book. Yeah. I think we have older items, right? Yeah. Yeah. So the book is 1090.
Yeah, 1090.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to promote any events that are happening at the library in the coming weeks that students should join?
Yes, I think I wanted to mention the critical race theory workshop that's going to be held next Tuesday from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. I will actually be a part of that workshop along with my colleague, Megan Donnelly, who's the outreach, teaching and outreach librarian, along with CGU professor, Dr. Tori Wieston Serdan. So we're going to be doing a presentation on how white supremacy culture shows up in academia and research, and kind of do a presentation on addressing that, what it looks like, and maybe a little bit more of application of how we can like kind of dismantle that or be more mindful of that in our own work.
Thank you. I placed the link for those of you who are interested in the chat room. It is on the CGU calendar, so we recommend if you can join, to please join. And if you cannot, then contact the organizers and hopefully they'll be able to provide you with a presentation later. If there are no other questions or no other announcements, I want to thank everyone for joining. I will go ahead and end this and the presentation now and the recording. And again, we'll forward out the recording to all of those who registered. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thank you.